organization and to celebrate the future of what is to come. I wish we could be toasting with a glass of champagne at one of our fabulous member locations, but I guess we're going to have to wait a little longer for that. Since uniting the chambers from Goleta to Carpinteria, we have focused on helping businesses navigate these unprecedented times, and we have several updates today reflecting on this past year, our vision for the future, and our roadmap to recovery. We're grateful to have had our boards come together in July and for our organization to have 3 dedicated and thoughtful co-chairs to lead us through this transition. We want to thank them for their service, and now we get to have an opportunity to hear from each of them. Please join me in welcoming Curtis Lopez, Carpinteria Lions Club, and outgoing co-chair of the board. Curtis.
Good afternoon. My name is Curtis Lopez, and I'm a proud 6th-generation Carpinterian. Thank you for joining us for this inaugural annual meeting of our newly merged organization for the first and hopefully the last virtual membership meeting. It has been a long-time member of the Carpinteria Valley Chamber of Commerce Board. I am proud to serve as co-chair for the past 6 months on our newly merged Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce, Goleta to Carpinteria. It is important for our full board to merge with the other boards and be part of creating the foundation of our new organization. I would like to give special thanks to all my former Carpinteria board members for their guidance, their wisdom, their patience, and their faith. I also want to give special thanks to our former Carpinteria president and CEO, Joyce Donaldson, for working so hard and looking ahead to the future, embracing the positive potential of the merger for the Carpinteria business community and the impact we'll have as a regional chamber. The last year has been difficult for many, especially the small businesses and the community members who have been unable to work. The dire economic crisis created a unique opportunity for our 3 chambers to merge. We will remain laser focused on helping the county and all 3 cities for the reopening of our economy. One of the biggest assets for Carpinteria is being part of the larger organization with access to groups such as the Public Policy Committee and the ability to do candidate questionnaires and forums. We are happy to be part of the bigger group and have more involvement in the total area. Carpinteria's participation on the Hospitality Committee has been another benefit. As soon as leisure travel is allowed, we plan to amplify our message about traveling to Carpinteria and are eager to explore the possibility of opening a visitor's center in our town. We were also pleased to showcase Carpinteria as the first state of the city in the Chamber's State of the City series. It was nice to showcase Carpinteria's message to the broader community. One of the first projects the Chamber embarked on was the Roadmap to Recovery, to help map a course for recovery based on efforts over the next 6 months and beyond, and/or as long as it takes for our businesses to recover. You'll hear more about that from our President and CEO, Kristen Miller. Our newly merged chamber is proud to represent 1,100 businesses and 70,000 jobs in the South Coast, and we want to thank all the members for your continued support and reliance. I also want to give a shout out to Shelley Nunes, because she is my predecessor as the board chair for Carpinteria. And when asked to be the board chair, I asked her, what's it take? And she said, you just have to run the meetings once a month. Not so, Shelley, but it's been an honor. So next time I'll know better. So anyway, to move on, and it's been an experience. So, and it's now my pleasure to introduce one of my co-chairs, and I've had a couple of great co-chairs, let me tell you. They are exceptional personalities, work hard, opinionated, but in the right way. So I'd like to introduce you, Jeff Green.
Thanks so much, Curtis. I was waiting for how you were going to finish that sentence, so I'm glad to see where that ended. Speaking on Bill and my behalf. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Green, by day the CEO of Santa Barbara City College Foundation, and I had been serving as a board member with the Santa Barbara Chamber prior to our merger, and I was serving as chair beginning in late 2019 and into 2020. And with Bill and Curtis, these last 6 months post-merger. So it's really been, as Curtis said, and Bill will, I'm sure, agree, an adventure, and I mean that in the best possible way. But if we can all remember way back, and I'm talking way, way back now to just barely a year ago, at the beginning of 2020, the Chamber at the time for Santa Barbara Chamber was celebrating 142 years of serving the community. Which is really remarkable. And I think a lot of us and many of us on this call, we've been members of all three chambers or two of three chambers. So many people share in that history. At the time, we'd been the largest of the three organizations that had merged. We had a long-standing history and a pride in that history. But we were looking forward to how to build a more an organization that could really represent a broader part of our region, our breadth of our sectors, have a greater impact and be more effective. That said, Santa Barbara had come through a pretty difficult period. And I don't think I'm giving anything away when I say that. And so the board that I was serving alongside were really working hard in 2019 and into 2020. It was really a period of recovery and rebuilding for the Santa Barbara Chamber. And so in the midst of that, to have the conversation began, a serious conversation. It was not the first time about our merger. And then, of course, the pandemic and all the cascading crises, it really pushed us all forward. I'm really proud of that work with my colleagues there, and I know they are too, and I think rightfully so. There was a really hardworking group there. So when we all came together, there was a lot on the table, and all board members from all three organizations met for several months, and we had working groups and committees to work out the details, ultimately merging with the transition committee, which itself was made up of all three prior existing executive committees. And there were times where I know Kristen we'll all make jokes about this, but it felt like we were meeting essentially daily. And maybe in perpetuity, we were just constantly meeting and talking this through. But that worked, and I really am so grateful to all of my colleagues, the staff team, as well as the board, to make it work and to see where we've gotten ourselves to. I want to thank all of my fellow transition committee members, the executive leadership of all three prior chambers, and the continuing executive committee as well for their leadership. And it was probably in this part of the work that my inner governance geek and love of bylaws and board structures made itself known. I think my closest friends and allies knew that, but I don't know that everyone knew that. I'm sure to the alarm of many of my colleagues that was discovered. But that said, we made it through, and we built a new structure based on the best parts of the three structures that merged together. And then, of course, with the changes we saw in 2020, we were in a position, and really a strong position, to do some really critical work and some pivots. So we pivoted to virtual networking events, holding Friday business leader webinars, connecting our business community virtually in all kinds of new ways, holding all three states of the city events as virtual productions, and then launching yet a fourth state, and this is the state of the county. And so it was really a creative time, as well as a difficult time for us. And of course, we're still in the midst of the crisis from an economic, social, and health perspective. So the merger allowed us to create the first economic development committee for the chamber, which is focusing heavily on the State Street corridor in downtown Santa Barbara and filling those vacant storefronts, an issue that many of us are familiar with. And of course, we represent, and it's our responsibility to be responsive to the entire region, but we also know that downtown Santa Barbara's vitality impacts the entire South Coast. So that will remain a focus into 2021. I want to give a special acknowledgement, and that seems like a bland word, but I really want to call out the work of Stephanie Armstrong. She served as our interim executive director for, I'm sure, far longer than she or anyone had intended. She was an absolute just stalwart staff support and leader for us. She really truly did the job of many folks, and was the person who held it all together through those more difficult times. And of course has now moved into a new role with the merged chamber. And so I really want to appreciate Stephanie for all of her work on behalf of all those you served with at the Santa Barbara Chamber, and of course all those you serve us alongside now. Above all, she's a fierce advocate for small business and our larger community. So without Stephanie, I know the Santa Barbara piece of the puzzle would not be where it is today. Now, I've said many times over the year, probably again, to my colleagues' dismay, my favorite quote, that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, my little catchphrase. And I truly believe that. I think what we put together here is really remarkable. All three cities on the South Coast, plus all of the communities in between, have distinct histories and identities, and we're eager to preserve and celebrate those. But we all know that our economies, our social structures, our political structures are linked and inextricably so. And so our business community is stronger if we all work together. I'm also fond of speaking about the nonprofit sector, which has long been my home base as a part of an integral part of our business community and economy. And in fact, taken as a whole, the nonprofit sector is the fourth largest employer in California. So in our region, it's an even bigger share of the pie. And I want to thank and respect all of my colleagues for welcoming both for and nonprofit business into this work. One of the challenges with the nonprofit sector is the diversity. And it's everything from your favorite youth serving organization to your faith community, to your social service agency, to a huge portion of our educational infrastructure and our health infrastructure. And on that note, when we put together our board, we noticed we have a couple of holes. And so we had to really work hard to make sure our board did the job that we needed to do. And that was to represent the breadth and depth of our entire region's business sector. When you put 3 existing boards together, you get a board of approximately 6 billion people. And so we joked with ourselves about what that meant and how we move forward. We actually had over 60 members on the merged boards. And again, we invited everyone to the table. But through working together, through folks terming out, finding other roles, what you'll see here this afternoon before you to vote on is a board of a little over 40. And just 1 new board member. And getting back to that health piece, one of our big holes, especially in the midst of a pandemic, we wanted to make sure that we had a leader in our health and healthcare infrastructure. So Brett Tandy is the CFO of Cottage Health, and we're really happy to welcome Brett to the family today. So I'll just close by saying that we, we're really excited about what lies ahead. We know the challenges, and I don't mean to sugarcoat this, but we're committed to representing our members, leading the economic recovery for our region, working with our community partners in government and all sectors, and focusing on the health and vitality, both the economic and the broader community health of the South Coast. And so with that, before I turn it over to the third guilty party of our tri-co-chairship, I want to just call out Kirsten McLaughlin, who you'll hear from very shortly as our nominated chair-elect. And I really hope you do elect her, by the way. So I'm just going to assume that's a foregone conclusion. But I just want to point out that there have been the 3 of us, Bill, Curtis, and I, sharing these roles. And I think what the moral of this story is that it takes 3 men to do 1 woman's job. So that is the point at which we find ourselves. And I'm very happy about it. And I think the future is bright for the chamber and the region. And it is now my pleasure to hand off to our third co-chair, Mr. Bill McFadden, the founder and publisher of NewsHawk, a fine, upstanding individual and a good friend and colleague. So Bill, it's all yours.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Curtis. It's been an honor to serve with you guys through our startup phase. And Kirsten, I just want you to know that it was not me who stepped on your took away your line there. So you can go after Jeff on that one. Excuse me. As Jeff said, I'm Bill McFadden, founder and publisher of NewsHawk. I am proud to have served as board chairman of the Goleta Chamber of Commerce these last 2 years. As we explore the innovative ways we can create a larger, more powerful regional chamber to better represent our vital business community. Like most local companies, NewsHawk is a regional business with readers and clients from throughout the South Coast and Santa Barbara County. A regional chamber with a broader reach and scope strengthens our ability to focus on our business and the overall business climate, while still maintaining the hyperlocal culture and events that enhance a community's quality of life. The speed with which the Goleta, Santa Barbara, and Carpinteria Valley Chambers of Commerce accomplished this history-making merger is impressive enough from an organizational standpoint, but the fact that we completed it in the middle of an unprecedented health pandemic and economic meltdown is really nothing short of remarkable. It underscores the importance of our mission to be the unified voice of business in our region, and it emphasizes the urgency of our becoming the most effective advocate for our members, the businesses and organizations that are the foundation of our local economy and the surest indicator of a healthy community. In fact, it will be small business, not big government, that will be leading the economic recovery our community so desperately needs. 2020 was a time of disruption, change, and transformation. COVID-19 has affected our lives and our livelihoods in profound ways and in the most personal of ways. We've lost family members, friends, neighbors, and longstanding companies. Of course, we all look forward to flipping the calendar to 2021, thinking we could leave the chaos behind. Boy, were we wrong. You have my word and that of my fellow directors that the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce will continue to be a resolute, reasonable, and tireless partner as we navigate bewildering, contradictory, and abruptly changing rules and restrictions for dealing with COVID-19. The Goleta Chamber of Commerce has a long history, or had a long history rather, of entrepreneurialism and advocating for our members. And we are proud of how our new chamber has so quickly come together and established a similar commitment to advocacy, public policy, and service. That vision has enabled us to continue to support our members during this turbulent time, providing critical information, updates, connections, and webinars. Even more important, we are successfully representing our members' interests in direct meetings with Santa Barbara County executive officers, elected officials, and public health department staff as we make the case for businesses to be allowed to operate safely. As an aside, I believe it is no coincidence that our chamber's high profile, effectiveness, and partnership with the Santa Barbara Airport and Visit Santa Barbara helped persuade Southwest Airlines to establish connections here. Southwest's arrival will be bringing exciting opportunities for our regional business community in just a matter of weeks. Like Curtis and Jeff, I am indebted to all of our board members for their hard work, advice, perspective, and good humor. The enormity of what we pulled off this past year cannot be understated. But it was a team effort by more than 60 business and civic leaders and visionaries, relying almost entirely on Zoom. I want to thank them for that, and I especially wish to thank those board members who are completing their terms in really just a few minutes. Finally, I want to thank our team at the Chamber, and most of all, Kristen Miller, our President and CEO, and my good friend. She has been a steady influencer and leader in our business community for more than 18 years, and I don't think any of this would be possible without her. Thank you, Kristen, and now over to you.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you to all three co-chairs for making what was a difficult task into something fun and fruitful. And it's been my pleasure to work with all of you. We are also very grateful for the sponsors who have stuck with us through thick and thin and who are supporting our work during these times. Particularly our sponsors for this evening's annual membership meeting. I'd like to give them a shout out. Our title sponsor is the Tobes Group, and we're going to get to hear from them in just a moment. Our supporting sponsors include Brown & Brown Insurance, Carpe Data, LinkedIn, Montecito Bank and Trust, and Village Properties. Our event sponsors are Atlantic Aviation, Brownsteed Hyatt Farber Schreck, Courtyard by Marriott, Cox Communications, Decker's Brands, Latitude 34 Technologies, Newshawk, Plains All-American Pipeline, Santa Barbara City College Foundation, Santa Barbara Independent, and Signature Flight Support. Thank you to those sponsors. We're not going to hear the applause. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Derek Hansen of the Tobes Group to say a few words.
Thank you, Kristen. From Rob, Michelle, and the entire Tobes Group team, congratulations. The co-chairs, the committees, everyone involved, staff, members, an amazing, amazing achievement in a very short time. You know, it is interesting and difficult right now to get things done, and just conceptualizing the Zoom meetings and everything you were discussing, trying to make all that happen. Certainly everyone that is a member of the Chamber is appreciative and thankful that the leadership and the staff and everyone, your efforts and what you did were just incredible. And thank you very much. And if I had a glass of wine, I'd raise that, but I'll raise my water bottle. So here's cheers to you all. Tobes is always pleased to be a partner in the South Coast area. As you know, this is all of our backyards. We all live, we work here, we participate in as many things as we possibly can right now, primarily Zoom meetings, but you know, it is our home. And it is important that we essentially put our efforts into the area and make sure that the things that we care about are taken care of and prosper. You know, one person I do have to thank, if for those of you that can actually see my TG little screenshot, our IT guy set it up so I could do the shameless plug without having to work too hard. So, and I do appreciate Kristen putting us up as the main sponsor. It makes it a lot easier on my part to take care of those responsibilities. We're very pleased this year to begin a new process, reinventing ourselves on properties and projects. Right now, we're really diving into Patterson Place Apartments and reimagining that, soon Calle Real, soon Santa Barbara Business Park. We're beginning that process of looking at those properties and trying to make them what they need to be for the next 30 years. We are enjoying it and looking forward to the results of that. I do have to slip down to Santa Barbara really quickly because I know no one's going to believe this when I say it, but the Granada Plaza project is painfully close to starting. We had actually put up construction fencing in the hopes that all the recordings and all that stuff would happen, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen. But we're so close right now. It's wonderful to be able to be a part of the team that has brought the Santa Barbara Center for Performing Arts vision and Mr. Tobe's vision and all of those people involved in it to fruition. And I promise you that very soon you will be able to walk down the Paseo and you'll see a whole new look. So with that, thank you, Kristen, and I will turn it back to you.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to recognize our board of directors. When we merged in July, we brought together the full board of all three chambers to guide us through that transition. Several of our board members have completed their terms this year, and we want to thank all of our exiting board members for their service. Please join me in thanking Rich Antles, Fleer Systems, Alex Bauer, Sansom, Rich Block, Santa Barbara Zoo, Ron Caird, Port Lamar Nursery, Beth Collins, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck.
Dave Derflinger, City of Carpinteria, Michael Ensign, Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Clyde Freeman, Montecito Bank and Trust, Dan Gaby, Appeal Sciences, George Lease, Montecito Bank and Trust.
We'd also like to thank Donna Lewis, Goleta Union School District, Trish Miller, Spherion, Craig Minus Land Use Consulting, Cameron Porter, DocuProducts, and Jim Turner, Radius Commercial Real Estate.
Also, Monica Solorzano, UC Santa Barbara, Roberto Van Gienen, the Ritz-Carlton Bacara, Sherry Villanueva, Acme Hospitality, Paul Wykowski, Skipper Construction, and Steve Windhager, Santa Barbara Botanic Garden.
Thank you to each of you for your service. All right, it is time for us to welcome our incoming board member, Brett Tandy from Cottage Health. This year, we are only adding one spot to the board to fill the need to have representation from the healthcare industry, since we had two exiting board members completing their terms. We're delighted to have Brett join us.
So may I have a motion to accept the new director for the board of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce for 2021?
So moved. This is Tony.
Thank you, Tony. In a second.
This is Bibi, I'll second.
Thanks, Bibi. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Congratulations, Brett.
Thank you. Very nice. And now it's my pleasure to present the Executive Committee for 2021. We're excited to introduce our incoming chair, Kirsten McLaughlin, Cox Communications.
And first vice chair, Trevor Large of Falver, Large, Archibald and Spray.
Our co-treasurer, Shelley Nunes, Meister and Nunes.
Our co-treasurer, Tony Vallejo, Nicholson and Schwartz.
Our immediate past co-chair, Jeff Green, Santa Barbara City College Foundation.
Immediate past chair, Curtis Lopez, Carpinteria Lions Club.
And immediate past chair, Bill McFadden, Newshawk.
Vice Chairman, Joseph Cambray, Pacifica Graduate Institute,
Vice Chair Bibi Mwezi, Pacific Premier Bank.
and Vice Chairwoman Ann Pazier of Santa Barbara Gift Baskets. So may I have a motion from the board to accept the officers of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce for 2021?
I so move. Susan Rodriguez.
Thanks, Susan. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, whoever said that, great, thank you.
Karen.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So the motion carries. Congratulations to the new executive committee. Now, may I ask our newly appointed incoming chairwoman to join me to recognize all of our returning board members. Kirsten, over to you.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you all for your support and welcome to the new board and the new executive committee. Congratulations, everyone. We'll start out with Caroline Alarcon, Reliant Notary Services, Michelle Apodaca, Deckers Brands, Michael Baker, United Boys and Girls Club of Santa Barbara County, Chris Charapa, Mesa Burger, and Sarah Dearman with Chevron.
Continuing with Francois Dijon of Hayes Commercial Group, Larry Doris of Agilent Technologies, Barry Dorsey of the Kimpton Goodland Hotel, Tyler Duncan of Rusty's Pizza, and Steve Epstein of the Epstein Partners.
Michael Favre, Favre Large Archibald and Spray, Janet Garufis, Montecito Bacon Trust, Karen Graff, Hilltop Flowers Incorporated, Steve Gregg, Plains All-American Pipeline, and Renee Grubb, Village Properties.
Also, Terry Hickey Banks from Hickey Brothers Land Company, Dora Lee Jacobson from Jack's Bistro and Famous Bagels, Brian Larinen of Granite Construction, Linda LeBrock of Pacific Coast Business Times, and Matt Long of Signature Flight Support.
John Longbreak, UC Santa Barbara, Matthew Morgan, Damitz Brooks, Nightingale, Turner, and Morissette, Kathy Odell, Women's Economic Ventures, Tom Patton, Ramada of Santa Barbara, and Susan Rodriguez of Brown & Brown Insurance.
And wait, there's more. Bill Shields of Shields Construction, Julie Spear of Ultimate Staffing, Sashi Thompson of Curvature, and Joey Zumaya of LinkedIn.
A big thank you to all of our returning board members for your continued commitment to the chamber. And I will give you a round of applause now that I'm not on mute. Thank you all. We so appreciate everyone being here today and appreciate your support for our chamber, our board, and our newly elected and quite impressive executive committee. For those of you I do not yet know, I'm Kirsten McLaughlin, like Bill said, and I serve in my day job, to steal Jeff's phrase, as the Market Vice President for Cox Communications. It is an honor and a privilege to serve as your chair in the first full year of our newly merged chamber. Thank you so much. And I, for the record, was not going to talk about the 3 men for 1 job, but since Jeff brought it up, I guess it's out there. As Bill, Curtis, and Jeff emphasized, we know that the last year has been incredibly challenging, and it has been amazing to see how we have come together as a business community to work through these challenges. The chamber certainly has had a busy 2020, and we're looking forward to a brighter 2021. Tonight's annual membership meeting is the one night of the year that we focus on ourselves as a chamber and get to give you updates on our plans and priorities. The vision for the chamber in any year is to advocate for responsible public policy, offer networking and community building opportunities, provide access to business development resources, and to support our visitors services across the region. 2021 is no different. Our vision for 2021 is ambitious as we tackle the challenges our community is facing head on. Our top priority will be pandemic response and our roadmap to recovery, which Kristen will give you more on after I finish up here. We're also focused on economic development, including filling empty storefronts on State Street and addressing the ongoing homelessness crisis in our community. Next week, we will publish our schedule for the year. The first half of the year will remain virtual, and our State of the City events and our State of the County event will continue to be virtual and once again air live to your screen. In the second half of the year, we are hoping and planning for a hybrid model of events, in person and online. We hope to know by May when events can return in person, and are hopeful we can execute our annual awards presentations in October, November, and December, and celebrate together with all of you. Hospitality and tourism are a critical part of our program of work, and we know that the hospitality industry has been one of the hardest hit during this ongoing economic crisis. 1 in every 3 jobs lost during the pandemic were in this industry. We have worked closely with Visit Santa Barbara to support our local hospitality businesses, and we look forward to continuing this powerful collaboration in 2021. We're also excited for the newly formed Tri-County Chamber Alliance, including all of the chambers in San Luis Obispo, Ventura, and Santa Barbara counties. Our ability to connect more over Zoom has helped us come together and collaborate. Going forward, this group will mostly focus on state advocacy and will be another group to work with on our powerful messaging and advocacy. In 2020, we also fostered a much closer relationship with our county leadership, and notably with Assistant Executive Officer Nancy Anderson. Our vision for 2021 is to strengthen those relationships and grow them with all 3 cities and the county as we work together to help our community recover. My deepest thanks go out to all the board members of the 3 prior chambers and ultimately our merged chamber, and to our dedicated steering committee, turned transition committee, turned executive committee for all the work you did this past year. It's pretty amazing to look back and see how far we've come in just 1 year. And a special thank you to our co-chairs, Bill, Jeff, Curtis. Your leadership has been critical to our success. Thank you for your work, your vision, and your commitment. And as I have told all 3 of you, you are not off the hook yet. We will continue to lean on your wisdom and insights. And personally, I have you all on speed dial, so be forewarned. We could not have done any of this past year without our outstanding staff at our newly merged chamber. Thank you for your continued hard work and dedication on behalf of our local businesses during these difficult and unpredictable times. We have an amazing staff team who have moved mountains for our business community and who make our jobs as board members much easier. Thank you. And finally, to our members, we thank you for your continued support and confidence in the chamber in this crazy and unpredictable year we have all gone through. We couldn't do this without you. And there are more ways than ever to get involved. I encourage and ask each and every one of you not to be shy. Please join us as we take on 2021. We are looking forward to a strong, healthy, and prosperous year. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn it back to Kristen and talk about the much foreshadowed roadmap to recovery. Kristen, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kirsten, and all of our leaders for your energy, dedication, and leadership. The merged, united chamber board embarked upon writing a roadmap to recovery for the business community. Facing the biggest public health crisis and resulting economic devastation to our local economy, the board was also faced with the reality that there are very little guideposts for recovery. Only an ever-shifting, confusing, and often contradictory series of guidelines for businesses about how to operate. Our responsibility as we see it is to provide a thoughtful, researched, consensus-based plan of action for our members and the business community. We don't have any control over the virus or the government's response to it, but we can provide valuable feedback, milestones, markers, and metrics for ourselves to help guide us in the decisions we make every day as businesses, residents, parents, and employers. Nothing in this document is a demand. It's a plan. It's a plan we believe in and that we offer because we think it will work. We're not criticizing or blaming or looking at the past. We are hopeful for the future and will harness our enormous energy around a good plan for the future. We have learned a lot. We've listened carefully to the CDC, the state, our county public health officers, and our business members. We know so much more than we did a year ago when the virus was just being detected in the US. We want to acknowledge that with every new bit of science and data we have gained, new tactics and decisions must follow. So now, 10 months into the pandemic, we're ready to step out with our roadmap to recovery and provide help and leadership for 2021. The executive summary I'm providing tonight starts with this thesis. Businesses operating with the COVID safety 5-step plan should be allowed to operate. From the CDC on down to the county's attestation process, these 5 steps have been determined as the most effective responses to operating safely. Number 1, masks. Everybody wear a mask. Masks work, wear a mask. Plan to wear your mask until at least June. Number 2, sanitize. Cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. We've all been doing it. Wiping down every surface, minimizing touch, using hand sanitizer when we can't wash our hands, and keeping everything clean. Number 3, social distancing. 6 feet apart. Many businesses have adopted 10 feet apart rules. Tape the floor to indicate lines, counting the number of people coming in. Don't shake hands. Don't gather. Keep contact when you do have to have it to less than 15 minutes. Number 4, ventilation or take it outside. It's amazing how much business has been moved outdoors, and in Santa Barbara, this is doable. If you can't take it outside, make sure there's proper ventilation with open walls, windows, even roofs. If you really can't move it outside, like in theaters, use newly proven ventilation methods that clean the air. Think airplanes. Number 5, plexiglass and barriers. Creating an additional barrier like plexiglass or plastic curtains or other creative methods add an extra level of protection, as well as a reminder for everyone to keep their distance. These methods do work, and we must do them all. After that, we recommend that no other guidelines and restrictions are helpful. They only cause confusion, chaos, comparison, and anxiety. Complicated guidelines from the state regarding percentages of people and categories and businesses have caused great anxiety, as one retail store is deemed essential and another is not. It's been complicated, confusing, especially when guidelines change, go back, and apply to certain dates and not others. We propose that all businesses should be able to operate if they are successfully and enthusiastically applying the COVID safety 5-step method. Period. The second highlight of our executive summary of the roadmap to recovery is that all data being collected should be used when making policy decisions, setting guidelines, and creating restrictions. Up to now, the emphasis has been solely on one section of public health numbers related to number of cases and hospitalizations. This is completely understandable, but in addition, this data should be compared to the equally important data about loss of jobs, increase of anxiety and mental health, effects on homelessness, and deterioration of communities, such as in downtown Santa Barbara. We have asked the county, and they have responded positively, to add a regular presentation of data to the Board of Supervisors hearing that includes information about jobs and education, data on community effects and statistics that have as much effect on our lives as the virus itself. Using all that we have now learned, better policies can be enacted to protect ourselves from the threat of the virus and the threat of the restrictions aimed at the virus that are sometimes worse. One important statistic we have shared with the report is that restaurants complying with all safety methods are contributing to the safety of our community, not contributing to the spread. One restaurant reported serving 15,000 meals in 6 months without a single case of COVID. On the flip side of that, when outdoor dining was banned, takeout orders for 10 to 15 people were welcomed, but also made it clear that people are gathering at home and in groups where there are not enforceable restrictions about masks, sanitization, and ventilation. The Chamber's relationship to the community and therefore to education has never been more important. We have always had close ties with the school districts and higher education since we know that education, business, and community go hand in hand. What we've learned is that in order for business to flourish and employees to maximize productivity, schools must be in session and on campus. The COVID-19 pandemic brought to the forefront the need for the link between a productive work environment and schedule and the local school calendar. The human experience of hardworking, dedicated professionals trying to also compensate for their children's education has created conflict that must be addressed. Distance learning, hybrid, or all in-home models brought challenges for students, working parents, teachers, employers, and employees without children. The loss of productivity among employees was in some cases dramatic and disproportionately affecting women in the workforce. Our roadmap to recovery calls for schools to be reopened on campus. The 5-step method can apply to schools as well, and using a hybrid schedule, plexiglass between teachers and schools, outdoor learning when possible, and of course wearing a mask should all be taken into account and enacted as soon as possible in order for our communities to recover. Much more detail is in our full plan, including sector-by-sector information that helps each industry make plans for recovery based on what we've learned. Nonprofits, arts and culture, recreation, childcare, personal services, even technology and manufacturing all have roadmap to recovery guidelines and information in the full plan. But the next highlight I want to present is really the astonishing level of resiliency and innovation that each and every business has embraced. No one I saw said, well, I'm just going to wait this out, get my PPP loan and hope for the best. Everyone found ways to build outdoor parklets, make a queue system for pools at hotels, space out the shopping customers at Trader Joe's, make touchless deliveries, create QR codes instead of brochures. The list goes on and on. The Chamber is always a champion for business, but even we have been touched and amazed at the energy with which our businesses transitioned to new working models and new ways of helping their customers. This same innovation and resiliency is what will propel us to recovery. If utilized and respected, it will also be what heals us, protects us, and keeps us safe into a bright new future. Lastly, the Chamber is presenting a timeline for recovery. We need markers and dates to give us hope and an ability to plan, even in uncertainty. We understand that nothing has been predictable in the past 10 months, but the power of the business community is that we can plan, adjust, change, and then plan some more. But we must have some timelines to frame our expectations and therefore our investments in our energy. In the next 6 months, we have the following suggestions, recommendations, requests, expectations. Number one, policymakers will use more data to make their decisions. Businesses will open using the COVID safety 5-step method. Everyone who wants it will be vaccinated. Schools will reopen on campus. Small group travel and events will resume, including weddings, meetings, small meetings, and sports. Our expert advisory groups are analyzing these outcomes and making their recommendations about specific dates, which we will be releasing to you soon. We know we can't control certain timelines, but we can set markers for ourselves to strive for, and therefore have a way to measure our success and have the camaraderie of working toward the same goals. Thank you for listening to our summary of the Roadmap to Recovery, and I thank you for your support.